Hello and good day. Welcome to my channel. My name is Maggie. I am a mother of three, a full-time employee, and a DIYer slash declutterer in my spare time and cleaner of my house in my spare time. If any of that sounds like something you are interested in watching, please consider subscribing and sticking around for my shenanigans. And if you've never watched any of my videos and you have no idea what the heck is happening, I am working on a closet build. I've already started with the closet. I've already created a base of the closet. I've also taken out all of my junk out of the closet. My bedroom is a hot mess, but that's not today's problem. Today's problem is cutting down these panels of wood to the right length. My father-in-law was helpful and was able to cut these panels of wood into the width that I needed, so all I needed to do was cut it down to the correct length. I used one piece of wood that I cut down as a template to draw down the next length just to make it easy on myself. Then battled the stairs to get the pieces of wood upstairs, as they are clunky and large, and my hallway and stairs is not the most spacious place in the house. And as I mentioned, my house is a mess, my room is a mess, my clothes are everywhere. So I am definitely trying to get this closet built done as soon as I can to get my life in order before school starts, because at this point we are about 2 weeks out from school starting. Yikes. So this is kind of the idea. This piece right here is just a piece of plywood that's going to be on top. I'm putting on the bottom just to measure and make sure it'll fit. And then here's a panel of wood. As you can see, with that 3/4 quarter plywood, it goes almost up all the way. That little gap is going to be covered by trim, so that's fine. I'm going to make sure this is leveled, and then I'm going to start putting these panels, these 1/2 inch panels, onto the walls. I bought myself a better stud finder, so I'm gonna double check, make sure studs are good and where the stud is. And then I'm gonna screw these in and obviously remove that because I don't need that. But yeah, so let's get it going, because I'm excited to get this completed. This is the last look of it this way. As I mentioned, I was taking the stud finder and making sure that I knew where the studs were to then screw this 1/2 inch of plywood into the wall to make it secure and not fall down on me, for the closet to be secure, right? That's the point of making this closet. I don't want it to be rickety. And so here I am, still making sure that everything is flush and level and everything is screwed right on into the wall with these. I have these giant, I think they're either 2.5 or 3 inch screws that are going right into the middle of the stud. And I am putting them into the corners of the closet just to reinforce the top layer that will go up on top. And here I am taking a sweater that I have just to make sure that I can actually hang stuff in the back, because it's not very spacious if I just use the piece of, like, the width of that piece of wood. The clothes won't fit back there, and the whole point of this closet build is for clothes to fit and for us to be functional and a little bit more organized than it has been. I just did all that work screwing these panels into the studs, right? So here, the stud, these are the studs. I'm screwing them in here, and I'm getting to my 5th panel, and I realized, how am I going to screw in the top? I was supposed to make some pocket hole screws or holes on the top, so that way I can just put it across. Well, now I can't put it across because I don't have pocket holes, so I may have to undo that, put pocket holes in there, and then screw it back in, unless there's another way I can do this. Let me see what I'm gonna do. Oh, total noob. but I guess I'll learn from this for my next build or whatever. So let me see what happens. I'm annoyed. All right, decided to move forward. I'm gonna go ahead and screw the rest of them in. I figured out what I'm gonna do with the top, and I'll show you guys that tomorrow once the stuff gets here. So I'm just gonna continue with this, and then we'll call it a day because it's 8:13 already, and it's time to wind down. Looking back at this footage now, doing the voiceover, I am still annoyed about the mistake that I made. However, I realize if I don't actually try and don't make mistakes, I will never build this closet. I'll just sit on my butt and continue with the mess that I've had. So I'm glad that I am still going through this and pushing through and trying to figure out how to make things work. And I hope you do too. I know it's not always ideal. But anyways, I then had my husband help with cutting down more pieces of plywood to continue with the build. I already used what I could, and now I needed to more. 15.5 inches, just cutting those down, and then cutting those 15.5 inch pieces down to the length that I needed. Enjoy my random tomato plants on the left here. That's the best angle I could find in the moment, or I thought I could. I probably could have done better. I'm sorry about that. So here I'm doing basically the same thing that I did in the other clip in the beginning, where I am taking the pieces of wood and measuring it and cutting it down to the correct length so I could again use it in the space. And for this, actually, this is what I'm cutting here is the top of the closet right here. And as you can see, this was a struggle. Like, you can't see the struggle that it was. I spent probably 15-20 minutes trying to get this stupid piece of wood up there twice. I cut off a sliver, I put it back in, and here I am struggling again. The door frame was giving me trouble. Like, I was trying to get it in there and it just wouldn't work, until finally I cut down another sliver and I used, instead of a hammer, a level, because that's all I had. So I'm about to use these little corner brackets in the corners just to screw this in. I don't think it's going anywhere, but this is more of a security thing just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm just gonna put these because I didn't do pocket holes and whatnot. I didn't wanna do it all up there. I didn't think about it. So I'm gonna put those in, but before I do, I'm gonna make sure that the panels that I need to put in here actually fit. I'm a little scared because that was a struggle. So let's try that first. Oh my God, it fits. Yeah, baby. All right, let's do it. For anyone watching out there, please remember to pre-drill. I did not think to pre-drill. I don't know why that's such a hard concept for me to remember. This is not my first time, but yeah, I struggled with these. These screws kept falling down and it was just not fun. Please pre-drill. Then I tried using my pocket hole jig. I bought this off of Amazon and this is the first time I'm using it. So I used a couple of scrap pieces of wood to make sure that I understood how this worked and how it looked, and that it wasn't going to make a mess into my floor. So it worked, and I started making pocket holes on the panels that are going to be dividing the closet. Then I measured out how long I wanted the spaces to be and drilled in the pieces on the bottom, and then leveled out the top to make sure that it all would fit right on in and it was all square and all that good stuff, because I'm trying to make this look really nice. And then my second problem started, but I figured I would power through and do pocket holes and brute force this piece of wood into the space. As you can see, I am struggling. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, and I was trying to hide the pocket holes for that first piece of wood and like put this other one behind it, so I didn't have to do as much sanding and filling and whatnot at the end. But It did not work, so I had to turn this panel around and put both of them into the wood together, and that was pretty tricky. I was able to do it, spoiler alert, but it was tricky. It was hard trying to level two pieces of wood, and they were heavy. They're 3/4 inch plywood, and they're slightly wonky, so it was a struggle, but I did it. And yeah, just goes to show you that we can do a lot of stuff if we just put our minds to it.
So much easier. This one literally took me, I'm at 48 seconds. The other one, I was struggling. I was struggling a lot. This was much better, so yay, I'm learning.
And learning I am indeed, because with the other side of the closet, I figured I would just install the two pieces of wood together because the problem, I didn't explain what the problem was, but once I screwed that first piece of plywood in, it basically brought the top down and I couldn't wedge the second piece right on in. So for anyone out there that is also trying to build this, make sure you think about this. Or if not, I mean, there's always redos.
Just to show what I just did, I measured over here how much space I needed for clothes to actually be able to hang because it's a little tight. This wood piece is just too tight. The hangers are 18 inches across, so this is a little extra, but in order to get this done, I put this temporary piece of wood across so I can, since I'm doing this on my own, I screwed this piece of panel into the wood. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side right now with this piece of wood right here, and then I'm gonna cut down the top. That way the top has something to sit across and it's all flush and whatnot. And then we'll start building the boxes. It's coming along really well. I'm so excited. This is so good.
And then, of course, because I said I was doing it on my own, my husband decided to come in and assist. He had been working, but was able to come and help me a little bit. Then had to cut down some wood for the top and wedge it right on in.
All right, here we are. I'm gonna call it quits for this week. I'm tired. It's been a long day trying to put this together, but this is it. I did like veer off a little bit off of the initial design, but this is it. So this is going to be clothes that are going to be hanging. Well, there's going to be a shelf that matches this one, so it's just going to go across, and then just hanging clothes both on the top and bottom here. This is going to be, obviously this is already a shelf, and then I'm going to put probably about 3 shelves here, right? So 1, 2, 3, and then down here we're gonna hang clothes. And then it's going to be exactly the same on the other side. So shelf, clothing, and then I'm gonna put big shelf up here, shelves for folding clothes, and then hanging clothes on the bottom. So messy in here. And then here in the middle, through probably right around here, I'm gonna put a bunch of shelves for shoes, and then another shelf up at the top, same concept as the others, and that's where we can store all of our Apple boxes or whatever other boxes we decide that we need to keep for the next 7 years. And then in the middle here, I have a couple of different ideas, but I'm not sure yet which one I'm gonna go with. It's kind of up in the air. So yeah, this is it. It's coming along nicely. It is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's looking so nice. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this chaotic video of mine. I should hopefully be done with this next week, at least for the painting. I still need to cut a bunch of shelves and put them in. I think I was gonna say I think that's not gonna be that long, but honestly, who knows? Like with cutting wood and measuring, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.